Hey everybody, what's going on? Rob Cesternino back here for another season of the Survivor Q&A. I loved the Survivor 46 patron Q&A. It was one of my favorite podcasts of the week. I love doing this. I love getting to hear from you all and get your questions. What are the people on the street, specifically the patrons on the street, what do they have to say? So we leave this spot on Fridays for people to call in. You've seen the show. You've heard my post-game show. You've seen the know-it-alls. You've heard the exit interview. Now it's your turn. What are you thinking? What do you want to ask me? Maybe what things am I missing? So this is your chance to come in and talk to me. A couple things here at the top of the show. What we have done on this is that we stream it out live on YouTube, but only the patrons have the link. So only the patrons can call in. Anybody can watch it, but we make it private after. So if you want to watch it after the fact, you want to listen to the podcast, you want to call in, you got to be a patron. That's how it works. And now we're going to do a feed drop on this one. So if you're listening to this in the main feed, like, there must be some mistake. How am I listening to this for free? I'm not a patron. No. We dropped it as we call it a feed drop. We dropped it in there. You're walking around the mall. Would you like to try this bourbon chicken? Okay, I'll try one. That's what we're doing here today. But something that we just started, and maybe this will be a huge disaster, and we'll have to turn it off. We've made it. You can try being a patron. There's different tiers. At the first tier, you can try being a patron for 7 days for free. Okay. Now that's not, you can also be a free patron, which is a little confusing. And a free patron, you get access to, we'll post things on Patreon that you don't have to be a subscriber to get. That's different. This is, you can come in, get the podcast feed, and try it for several days. That's a brand new thing that's unlocked. Go to robswebsite.com/Patreon. robswebsite.com/patron, I should say. And we've been trying on a lot of different other rebranding, okay? I've also gotten the URL RHAP Plus, okay? I don't know if people are going to like that or not. If it sticks, we'll use it. RHAP Plus you can use as well for our Patreon feed. A lot of other stuff going on also at this hour. We've got Nicole sending me texts that are NSFW. We've got the BBQ&A is going to be tomorrow. I'll be live with Taryn answering your Big Brother questions. That's going to be at noon Eastern. So on Saturday, live feed update followed by the BBQ&A. Next Friday, both are going to be on Friday as of right now. Okay. We'll see. We might have, it's Dominic's birthday, but we might have to move it. Nicole says there's a hurricane coming. So as of right now, look for both the Q&As to be next Friday. And then one other programming note. Okay, I'm going to do Club Condo coming up on Monday with Chappelle. But on Tuesday is a big day because I have a podcast that I wanted to do. I looked at the calendar. And of course, every week I do This Week in Survivor History with Jordan Kalish. But this Tuesday, I've been thinking very much about 2014. Very important year in my life. And I looked at the calendar. I said, hey, Tuesday is the 10-year anniversary of Survivor San Juan del Sur. And I was thinking, maybe we should do a podcast to commemorate the 10-year anniversary of the premiere of Survivor San Juan del Sur, as we think back to 10 years ago exactly from the premiere of Survivor San Juan del Sur. Of course, there's nobody I have more fun watching old Survivor with than Josh Wigler. And so Josh Wigler and I will be live for our Survivor San Juan del Sur 10-year anniversary podcast coming up on Tuesday. Okay? That being said, Survivor 47, 2-hour premiere. Lots of reactions to what was going on. We had some fun podcasts, had a nice chat with John Loveit. I was listening to John Loveit talk about his experience on his podcast earlier today. But let's get into this. Is the patron show. So let me bring in, I got a lot of people on hold, and let's bring in, let me start off with Danielle, okay? Danielle, how are you?
I'm doing great, Rob. How are you?
Doing great. Danielle, what's new?
I don't know what's new.
You got your Jelinski merch on?
I do, yeah. Yeah, I thought I'd give my RHAP stuff a break.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, what's going on, Danielle?
I feel like you're doing this 10-year anniversary podcast just for me. It's because San Juan del Sur is where I found you. So that's like, I have the most memories with you.
Danielle, I think that's what appeals to me about why I especially want to do it is because I don't think that you're alone. I feel like I've got a whole soundboard full of San Juan del Sur clips that we might be able to pull out here. So, hey,
I just rewatched the season, and I also listened to Know It Alls along with it.
What?
Shut your mouth, homie G.
So yeah, you really found the soundboard that season. It was very
I literally did. Yes, that is correct.
No,
so
it was
I do think that there was something in 2014 that really between the show and then I was in the right place at the right time, and a lot of people were looking for this content. So I do think it was a special time, and so I do think that it's going to be fun to go back and visit that on Tuesday with Josh.
Yeah, and Josh always has such good energy. I'm glad he's back with us, especially on Twitter. So yeah, I'm very excited for that. And that is not even 47 related. So
well, I think also like Josh is watching 47. I think we'll get like sort of what I like about it is also it's premiere week, so we could talk about okay, this is what happened in this premiere, this is what happened in this premiere. Also, it's very easy to go back and watch this only 1 hour show. It's practically a TikTok.
I know it's such a breeze. And I know often when y'all rewatch it, you watch it a little quick too. So
yeah,
it's even faster. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll be a fun one. Okay, so Danielle, what'd you think about the premiere of Survivor 47? Yeah, nearly a Vine. Yes, thank you, Josh.
Yeah, I didn't.
By the way, this is very interactive. Please comment away, bring your comments in.
Josh, I beat him in RHAP fantasy football last week. So
oh my god, I didn't even know about the RHAP fantasy football.
Josh can bring it up, but yeah, I'll reserve the smack talk for later. But no, I thought the premiere was really good. I've been trying to figure out. I'm not always like super into the premiere. I like it when people are like more worn in. I don't know. I compare it to like a pair of Converse. Like I love the shoe, but I like it when it's like a little bit more beat up.
Sure.
So I really check in around like episode 4, I feel like, which is when I predicted John would
Week
go
40.
home.
Yeah.
So I was surprised at that. But I think the 1 tribal versus 3 tribal idols are setting us up for a lot of lies in regards to the power of an idol, similar to what Tony was doing. So I'm excited to see.
But is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it's good because as someone who enjoys comedy, I think it's a lot of improv out there for what rules are you going to come up with that are believable. And I think Survivor has handed them a prompt already. So I think there's some work that people can do with that.
Yeah, I just don't really I think it kind of breaks the game. I hope that we don't have that where it's like that, this is something that came up a lot in Survivor 44 of like, okay, this is a real idol. And this is also another like highly produced idol that production made, but this one's actually not real. And then it's like, okay, this is a perfectly good idol. But what you don't know is that the expiration date passed. And so, like, how am I supposed to know that?
Yeah. I think it's always fun seeing what people come up with. And then I think we might see the playoff in 49 and 50 next year as to what's happening with these idols this year.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
What else is going on, Danielle?
Are they allowed to wear hats? Everyone was covering their face like this, and I am concerned.
Oh, they didn't have hats?
Yeah, and I know like Brad Culpepper, Danny, I can picture hats, and I'm just wondering.
I had a hat, yeah.
Has casting gone away from that? As somebody who wants to play, I'm like really scared about the no hat.
Do they not give them hats anymore? I don't know. Somebody will probably keep an eye on that.
Yeah, literally everyone was like this in the premiere, and I think everyone should have a hat if that's allowed. I know why they got rid of sunglasses, but I didn't know why they would get rid of hats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's not one that I have the answer to.
That's okay.
Somebody text Asia. Are you allowed to have a hat?
How is casting?
Baby Andy, are you in the chat right now?
Speaking of baby Andy, I feel so justified. Last season, I called in because I had just participated in Survivor Orlando, and I felt uneasy on my team because nobody was cheering my name on in a challenge. And I got voted out very soon after that. So when he wasn't getting cheered on for that coconut, I was like, it means something. It means something, even though like it shouldn't have been discussed on the mat in the way that it was. The confessional, I agreed with.
Yeah, the cheering, I do think that there was something there. I think that there was something like with Tim last season when Tim was like calling out everybody like, come on, this person, come on, this person. Like, I do think that, you know, it's great the people that you're cheering for, but the people that you're not cheering for also do, I think, take a note. Like, why aren't they cheering for me?
Yeah. And it's like almost working with children. You have to make sure you're not by including somebody in too much because they're often excluded. Now you might actually be excluding somebody who had always been included, but now he's not being included. So it's like an interesting balance there, especially on day so early when you're learning their personalities as well.
For sure. Yeah.
I feel like the other thing was I liked what Omer said about the culture of the season hadn't been developed yet. I hadn't heard that phrase before. I know we talk about like people playing like the winner of the last season they saw, but I didn't think about what happens on the mat on day 3 is how people handle it on day 6 and 7. So I thought that was a nice comment.
Yeah, I feel like that we talk about it a little bit more even in Big Brother, where it's like the house sort of like when Angela ends up like making a big speech on day 4, it really like shapes the whole season. And I do wonder last season where Jelinski, your guy, was such a destabilizer early on, how much of a halo effect does that have for the rest of the season?
Yeah, and Liz has pointed out that the last episode they saw before flying out was her I'm pissed episode. So like they really got hit with a lot of emotion. So to be thinking of that as they go in. But yeah, I'm excited. I think this season, I like every season in Survivor, so I don't mind. But yeah, I thought this was a really fun premiere. I am bummed and I'm sorry you got the grenade, but
it's okay. Honestly, like I'm not worried about like I would say of the 6 people on the draft, I think I probably have like the least skin in the game of especially considering that I was only in one draft and I am the winner of the one draft that I was in. So I lived by the grenade last season. I died by the grenade. Asia will come back next season. It was a good 2-season arc for me in the draft. And now everybody, if they want, can root for Asia to win and then also still have a chance to win the draft. So I personally, it did not bother me at all. I thought it was perfect.
Yeah, and it worked out very nicely. But it just is a bummer to see John go. But to keep Andy, it's always like, well, we got to keep Andy, so it's okay.
Yeah.
My cat's name is Andy, and he's here.
Oh, yes, but not after that Andy. A different Andy.
Yeah,
a different
from the
famous
Lonely
Andy.
Island.
Yes, a different Andy on an island. Yes.
Oh my God, that is funny. Okay, I'll write that down.
Yes, a different Andy who felt lonely on an island. Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. Rob, I've missed you all summer, so I'm happy that we're back.
Yes. Well, I was here, Danielle. You weren't.
I thought you would do more patron calls, but you did the one in June, and then you were like,
well, I do one every week, but it's just about Big Brother.
Yeah. I'm employed this year, so I couldn't get into it.
Yeah. Okay. No worries. All right. Talk to you soon. Okay.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Bye. Okay. All right. We got a loaded waiting room here. Okay. Let's go bounce around a little bit. Okay. Let me say hi to Rainer. Hi, Rainer.
Hey.
How are you?
Hey, Rob. I'm doing great. I also missed you over the summer.
Yes, I know. Well, look, I love doing the BB Q&A, and there's some overlap, but it's some different faces. There's some different faces that are back here. My Survivor friends are back today.
Yeah. I mean, I'm biased.
Yes. Okay. What's going on?
Man, medical school's busy. It's busy.
Yes.
That's what I don't know if you remember from the last time we talked, but I'm in the trenches right
yes,
now.
Yes, I not only do I remember, I believe you talked about how Sophie had a checklist, right? Of make sure that you don't amputate the wrong leg, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And so we have our ER doctor this season.
Yes, we do. I'm interested to see how he plays. I actually thought he did a really good job of comparing triaging to the game of Survivor, which is something that I hadn't thought about, but it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Me personally, I'm in like the evidence-based sort of stuff. Like that's what I'm trying to bring over to Survivor. Like we were talking about the checklist, taking away all these like cognitive problems and biases. And Rob, this week I hyperfixated.
On what?
This week I hyperfixated. A little Corey Wurtenberger tweeted out during the episode something along the lines of, "Man, being the weakest guy in your tribe is a death sentence in the new era."
Yeah.
And my first thought was, "You're so wrong. You're so wrong, Corey. Let me show you why you're wrong." And I don't know. I thought, there's been weak guys who went really far in the game. People like Romeo. Romeo made it all the way to the final tribal. Omer, I don't think Omer would say that he's, a 5-star athlete. There's other ways that people show their strength, but just in terms of pre-merge strength, the type of person that you might want lugging a giant boat down the sand with you. So I got to work trying to prove Corey wrong. And so I did statistics. Rob, what do you know about statistics?
A little bit.
Stats 101, 102?
Yeah. I probably, took something in college, but, it's been a minute. But I would love to hear your findings.
Yes, absolutely. I did a science, Rob. And so I just pretty much put everybody on the cast. I got like a big table from the Survivor Wiki, and I put them on an Excel sheet. And I looked and I said, now let's start off with just, are you perceived as weak or are you perceived as not weak? And I charted out whether they made the pre-merge or the merge. And this is what I got. I don't know if I can. I'm not learning it up here.
So just so pre-merge, merge, weak, not weak. So you have there were 13 people. I'm gonna go full screen on you. Okay.
Okay. Oh my God. That's
or at least I'll make you the featured box. Okay. So I'm not gonna be totally off the screen. Okay. So 13 people who made the pre-merge were, or I'm sorry, is this voted out in the pre-merge?
Yes.
Okay, voted out in the pre-merge were considered weak. 19 people were considered not weak. And then the people who made the merge, 16 were considered weak, and 55 were considered not weak. And this is just the new era. And this is all people, not just men?
This is all people, yeah.
Okay, got it.
And so that was just like my first thought. Well, let me see if this thought, because we've all had this thought in the new era, is weakness in the pre-merge can be seen as like something that you're going to get targeted for. And this is like what we've seen. We saw it especially in the first couple seasons where a lot of women would go out really early, and we were wondering a lot of concern about, are these like super physical challenges hurting women on Survivor? And so I don't know if you saw the number at the bottom, but that was P equals 0.058.
Yeah.
And so back in statistics, we have an obsession with a p-value. And all that is the number that we calculate that says, how likely is this that it didn't happen by chance? Something like that, right? Pretty much we just want that number to be less than 0.05 most of the time. And the number was greater than 0.05 just for that category. And so I said to myself, okay, I'm on the right path. Corey's wrong. Being weak, even though it's super close, there wasn't a big difference. Being weak doesn't mean that you're going to get voted out in the pre-merge. But then I thought, well, he didn't say weak. He said weakest. So I said, okay, well, let me rank everybody in terms of on a scale of 1, 2, 3. 1 being the weakest man or woman, and then 2 and 3 being their respective places, with 3 being the strongest.
Okay.
And so, there's a lot of times when somebody may be the weakest man on their tribe, but not seen as weak. Think of like JD. Like JD's not 7 feet tall like Broccoli Brad, and JD is not just quite as proficient as Rick Hard was. I wouldn't say JD was Romeo or Zach Wurtenberger, but with no disrespect to them.
Right.
But just to get an idea. So then I looked at weakest versus not weakest, and if they made the pre-merge or the
Okay.
merge.
Here, so let me go back on this
You're all
larger
good.
image. Okay.
Yeah. And we
All
can
right.
just focus on, there it is. That number right
So if
there.
you were P equals 0.001, so that means that there is not a lot of randomness here?
That means that we expect pretty much that this should not be occurring by chance.
Yeah.
So being the weakest, this is again men and women, being the weakest on your tribe of your gender meant that you were more likely to be voted out in the pre-merge.
Yeah.
Much
Okay.
more than the merge.
But I think that's conventional wisdom, right?
I agree. So I think now we have a footing here. And I also broke it down to be gendered man, all men, or all women, and it held up. So it was also more of the same. But I just thought it was interesting. Because
I would love to know that for 6-person tribes in general, because I feel like that I too was a victim of this horrible idea of, hey, let's vote out the weakest guy from our group of 6.
And it looks like it's holding up. It's like I think there were maybe there's 14 men that were the weakest. And when I did all this, I excluded anybody who was like medevaced or quit the game, that sort of thing. There were 14 men who were the weakest, and half of them ended up going in the pre-merge. And then of all the men who were not the weakest, I mean, there was like 36, and only 7 of them went out in the pre-merge. So I don't know. There's like
so Corey is right, is what you're saying.
Corey was right. Conventional wisdom is right, but I had to prove it because you can't just take things at face value, because then that's how you're wrong. Because you know what happens when you assume, Rob.
Yeah. All right. Well, the next thing that we need to figure out is, what can these guys do?
I think what they can do is, it's kind of like the old saying, if you don't have to be the fastest person running away from a bear. I butchered that. You just have to be faster than the guy next to you. That's it. So I think you just got to work your ass off.
Yeah.
You just got to work your ass off and not be the weakest guy. And I mean, it's kind of shady to John, because like I think he talked about working out a lot.
Yeah.
And getting into like hot yoga. And it's not like he's a weak guy. Just the weakest in his tribe. And I think if you were to look at him, you might think, oh, like, I don't know, can he give us that much strength in a challenge? It's tough.
Yeah.
Maybe maybe go to the Carson School of bulking up 30 pounds.
maybe also easier to do when you're 21 and not 41.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, Rainer, thank you so much for the call. Okay.
Yeah, no problem. It's good talking.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. All right. We got a lot of people on hold, so let's start getting to, see how many people we can get to today. Let's say hi to CJ. Hey CJ, how are you?
Hey Rob, what's up?
What's going on, man?
Not much. Just enjoying what a great premiere that was. It was just really awesome. I think one of the best of the new era, to be honest with you.
Yep, I saw pretty high praise for the premiere on Wednesday night.
Yeah, I think I think we got to see everybody. We got to hear from everybody. And then, even on a boot episode, we heard a lot from John. And I think that's always good. I feel like you want to hear, if someone's going out, you want to make sure you hear their point of view or their perspective, at least.
They got a lot of mileage out of him for one night.
Yeah. So that's good. Rooting for Aysha. That was just awesome. She was all over the place. Just love that. She got like you said, a fast pass into an alliance just with Teeny there. And that's awesome. I think the dynamics of the Red Tribe, I think, are actually the most interesting to me. Just with all of Rome's antics, and then Aysha leading the watch party, if you will. But I think that kind of, the thing that I wanted to ask you about is, where does that kind of leave Genevieve? Because she's the one who says, "Oh, I like Rome and I want to work with Rome," and brought Rome up to Teeny, and now Rome's just got this target on his back with an idol that he may have to end up using. Does that mean she's just going to be the odd person out in that situation?
Yeah, that's a really good point. I hadn't been thinking about it as it pertains to Genevieve, that we don't know how close they are, right? And to what lengths that she might go to. I'm trying to remember if she was also in that group. I do remember. So it's Aysha and Teeny and Saul that were there following around Rome.
I think it was Kashan.
And Kashan. Was Genevieve there too?
No, it was just the four of them. So Genevieve wasn't anywhere in that. She wasn't anywhere in that situation. And the only reason I brought it up is because Genevieve pitched Rome when she was talking with Teeny about possibly working with Teeny and Kashan, and then Teeny was like, well, hold up, I got a little spot saved here for Aysha.
Yeah. It is quite a predicament, and I don't think that we've had this situation exactly where somebody in the pre-merge in the new era is the target and has the idol. The only time I could think of where it happened was in Survivor 44 when Maddie wanted to target Brandon Cottom. And she was like, hey, tonight's the night. He's not going to play the idol. We're going to, and then I'm not sure if it was, did Matthew tell him to play the idol then that night? I don't remember exactly.
I can't remember. I can't remember because I think maybe they thought that it was going to be Jenny or maybe they told him that.
Yes.
And then she played her shot.
Says yes.
I can't remember.
So, but that's the only time, and that's the real danger of you try to blindside these people. Like, I think that really the move is you have to make them think that it's going to be them, get them to bluff their idol or bluff them to play their idol, and then vote somebody else.
Yeah, I think that would probably be it, and they might need Genevieve to do it if she wants to save her own skin. She would just probably need, if she catches wind that Rome may have an idol, just say, hey, I think you're good. Don't play your idol, because if you play your idol, I'm probably going to be the one that goes home.
Yeah. So we'll see. It's going to be a tricky thing to figure out.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how the season plays out. It looks fun. Everybody seems like they've got the game in them. Like everyone seems ready to go. It's giving me 45 vibes where you just had so many people who were just really down to play. And that excites me.
Yeah, CJ, it's hard. It's not like when I played when you could go out to Survivor and there's 12 people that have never seen this show before. Yeah,
right. It's so many super fans. I can't wait, man. It's awesome. It's going to be a great season, and I can't wait to see how it turns out.
CJ, I love how pumped up you are.
No, man, Survivor's Survivor's been like the thing that got me into reality TV, so it's got like a little spot in my heart for the game. But this Big Brother season is awesome too, and so if we have a good Big Brother season followed up by a really awesome Survivor season back to back, like who can complain about that?
Yeah. Okay. CJ, thank you so much. Okay.
All right. Take care, Rob. See you.
Bye. Okay. Let's say hello to Sarah. Okay. Hey, Sarah, how are you?
Great, Rob.
Me, shush, or
I was like,
yeah,
slipped.
Yes.
No, I'm not. I'm not shushing.
I wasn't sure if I was going to wake the baby up, but I see the baby.
Oh no, everyone's awake.
Okay.
I have a theory about why there are so many podcasters on this season.
Yes. Why are there so many podcasters on Survivor?
I don't know if anyone's pointed this out, but I think this is the first season that started casting after Jeff himself became a podcaster.
Host of On Fire, right?
Right. And you know how when you have a new interest, you get very excited about it. You think about it all the time. You're super pumped when you meet somebody who's also into that. I can just see him in these casting interviews like, so I hear you're a podcaster. I've recently
Josh Kettle says, ring the bell.
Really
She's
into
right.
Podcasting.
Yes.
He's like, hey, what kind of microphone do you use? Like, you'll have to ask Aysha if they talked podcasting during the casting interviews.
Yeah. Okay. That is an interesting theory of like, you're a podcaster. I'm a podcaster.
The casting people are like, you know what Jeff is super into right now? Podcasting. Like, find him some podcasters. He'll love that.
Well, I don't know if they found. I think these people applied to be on the show, but I do think that maybe it was something that like he did maybe see a little bit more of like wow, that is hard to do. I
was remembering he said that during the interview you did with him, where he was like, yeah, now that I'm podcasting and I see how much goes into it, I see what you're doing here. So,
yeah. And
so
I listen to the On Fire podcast every week. It is part of my Thursday routine. A lot on the mud this week.
I haven't listened to. There's a lot. It's hard to keep up with all this right now. With the last 2 years with Big Brother and Survivor, and at the same time.
Did you have any questions,
really
Sarah, about the mud?
I really hadn't thought that much about the mud.
If you were gonna talk about this week's Survivor episode, first thing you'd want to talk about clearly
maybe I'll go
was
right to that after
the mud.
This, now knowing that it's all on mud.
You need a good 10 minutes on the mud, I think.
All right. Well, I mean, if you can talk 10 minutes about mud, it must be interesting. There must be something interesting about the mud, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll see. We'll see. And then I know it's Survivor US Premiere Week, but it is also Survivor Australia versus World.
Yes.
Casting semi.
Now, I can't believe that was only this week. That was only Monday.
It was this week. So my dreams are coming true. You said it would never happen, but here we are.
Yep.
George and Sari are playing on Survivor together.
I don't think she's gonna like him.
We'll see. Well,
who loves George? Who loves George?
My daughter loves Curious George.
Curious George, yes.
Letting us know. And then, so I only have one more wish on my wish list for this season is if they have someone from Survivor New Zealand and it is not Lisa, I will die.
Okay, I thought that your wish.
First
of all, I'm so relieved, Sarah, because I thought you were saying that I have a wish that it's somebody from New Zealand and it's not Lisa.
No, if it is not Lisa.
Could you imagine? Wouldn't that be exciting? If this is there was another patron that was playing on Survivor. I mean, oh my God.
I know.
Could you imagine? A renapper.
On Survivor. So that's
that would be very exciting.
Keeping my fingers crossed. That's the last thing on the checklist for the season. I could not ask for anything more.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Okay. All right, Sarah. Well, I hope that everybody over there is giving you some time to enjoy all the podcasts.
Never.
Right.
No time ever.
Relatable. No. Yeah. All right, Sarah. Thank you so much for the call, okay?
Yeah, have a good day, Rob.
All right, take care. Bye. Okay. Let's say hello to Minnow. Hey, Minnow, how are you?
Oh my gosh. Hi, Mr. Gamer.
Mr. Gamer, yes. That's I think Mr. Gamer was in the chat. I saw. Yes.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm doing quite well. Last night I finished Cagayan for the first time.
Yes, and congratulations on your very first live Survivor premiere.
Yes, it was my first live Survivor premiere. I had so much fun. It's so hard to focus when you also want to talk to everybody at the same time too, but I had a blast doing it. It's just Survivor is good.
Survivor's good. And so that you, just to reset your whole story, you found Survivor 46, I believe on the Mariah Boot episode, correct?
Yes.
And then said, oh, what's this? And then have proceeded to go and watch many, many seasons, more than several. All of Big Brother, listen to entire seasons of the Big Brother recap.
Perhaps.
Yes. And now look at you, your first premiere.
Yes, I will say, I think Rome has me definitely beat on the speed of which seasons are being watched. Although, I don't know.
Rome watched them all, in 3 months?
Yeah, every single one.
Did a speed run of Survivor?
Absolutely. I listened to all the podcasts in between to try and get an idea of what it was feeling like at the moment. So definitely not as fast. But yeah, I've currently watched all of the new era, Millennial vs. Gen X, David vs. Goliath, and now Cagayan. Yeah. So now I'm wondering, should I do San Juan del Sur next?
Come with us. Tuesday, 10-year anniversary.
I know. I'm sure I could get a few episodes in by then. So
yeah.
So I'm excited to chat. I was just thinking, so I just watched Millennials vs. Gen X right before Cagayan, right?
Yeah.
And I have to say, one thing that I don't think I heard it come up too much so far. I mean, it's only been 2 days, but I was wondering if when we see what happened to Andy, right? I don't want to talk it from a strictly negative perspective, right? I think who knows what could happen, But I was thinking, I don't have the most knowledge of Survivor, right? But just watched Millennials vs. Gen X with had David Wright, and I listened to podcasts, right, between every episode and such, and I felt there was such
it's amazing that you have the time to listen to podcasts in between each episode, but go on.
I'm finding a job right now. But you know, David, so much it felt was very heavy on like, what is David Wright doing? What is he doing? He's so paranoid, right? He's making this crazy moves. Why is he playing this idol for Jessica? And then the rest of like so much of this season sitting there and it's like, we have to get David out because of this underdog story that he's developed, right? And I'm thinking then, though, he couldn't make it to the end, though, because of how quickly he turned this around and how much, though it became a part of a story and how open he was about, like, I've overcome my anxiety. Then we've also seen Owen Knight and David Wright, that rhymes. Owen Knight become a zero vote finalist with an underdog story. So I was just thinking, have we actually seen someone win with the kind of beginning of, like, a lot of that emotion and that underdog story in a way that resembles those two? Or would Andy be the first of his kind and a new archetype if he were to win?
Yeah. So this is a good question. I'm just trying to like cycle through it. Well, you know what? I feel like that Gabler might be the person who kind of had like the messy start, you know, has a little bit of, you know, not really fitting in, then kind of goes under the radar. And I mean, I know you're talking about Owen, but Owen didn't really have like a messy beginning. You know, things didn't go Owen's way along, but you know, Gabler like has like the, you know, it's a very bad start and then ends up like working his way all the way back.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking from what I've seen. I'm looking in the chat and I do think I would say like in terms of like, it was very out there and emotional, and a lot of it has been centered on Andy, which I think differentiates from someone like Adam Klein. Like, I don't really think it's. I do see more of like a David Wright comparison in terms of just that very beginning, but it's interesting. What I thought it was a curious thing. I feel from what I've seen so far, it feels like we haven't seen someone really take it around from what I'm hearing and what I've seen. So I think it would be an interesting and very compelling story that I do think could win given the right circumstances, but I don't think we've exactly seen so far.
Yeah.
And he's a good guy, you know?
Yeah. Steven was talking about how, you know, it's how hard it is to be out there and then, you know, you are out of your comfort zone and people are talking about you. And, you know, I was reminded of, I know so many of the patrons play in the Blood on the Clock Tower games with Dwight, like yourself. And I'm reminded of a recent Blood on the Clock Tower game where I came in and I basically had you know of this, yeah.
Yes, I was watching.
And I confided in somebody like, hey, here's who I am. They said, okay, great, I trust you. Here's who you are. And then I guess in this scenario, I was a little bit like the John Loveit of the person that I confided in got murdered. And then said, well, it must have been Rob because he's the only person I know. And everybody's like, Rob, is this true? But what? And I did not handle it with the grace that John Loveit handled it. And then everybody's like, oh, very sus. Rob is sus. Like, no, you have to believe me. And there was no coming back for me. So, you know, when people like you're on the outs, it's very hard to be your normal, like calm self and not be panicky.
Yeah. And that is a classic Blood on the Clock Tower strategy in many ways of, you know, telling only one or two people your role in order to try and say, well, if anything happens to me. But a lot of times that goes wrong.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I was just, you know.
And I didn't say anything. I'm good.
Yeah, that can backfire.
You know, you tell me something, it's in the vault.
I'm the same way. I'm the same way when I play. But I've had an interesting track record with winning. I've only won as the one role that it's like you have to play for the other side the whole time. I had to be a floater basically the whole time to win, and I won. But I haven't really won properly other than that.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so much fun. I love Survivor, man. This is
great. We're so back. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I'm probably San Juan del Sur next for me.
All right, that'll be fun. Well, that's right after you just watched 28, so go right to 29. That's good.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Talk to you soon. Okay.
Bye.
All right. Bye. Okay. Let me pick up. All right. I think I've noticed that somebody is on hold, and it has a prop, I believe. Okay. Let me bring in a guy that our most active chatter, I believe, Stephen C. out on Long Island.
Rob.
Said he just went to Roosevelt Field Mall. And are you wearing the Grateful Dead
Rob,
shirt?
Rob. I have several of these. And when I heard Baby Andy,
what's it got? The teddy bears? Yep.
Teddy bears with the surfboard.
Yes. Now, are you a poser like Andy? Are you,
Rob? I've been to a couple of concerts at Citi Field, John Mayer performing. It's great music. It's great music. And it's going to serve me well one day. I know how to vibe.
You're afraid of the weed, right?
No. It's great. It's great, Rob. I can't lie, man. It is better than alcohol. It is life-saving. It is medicinal. You got to use it correctly. But Rob, trust me.
Yeah.
Trust me, it's good. You gotta know your limits. But listen, I am ready. You are right. I have a prop. I bought my tinfoil hat. I'm happy I got brought on like right after Minos because I'm also going to be talking about Baby Andy.
Yeah, right, like Baby Andy. Here, let me just for you.
And if you guys have a pot, I'm going to have a pot too.
Okay.
Listen. That's what my dad calls it. And come on.
Yeah.
Marijuana,
Angela.
Weed.
This kind of sounds like a fun time to do it. The pot stuff with my fellow housemates.
Angela.
As long as it's not illegal. I don't want to get in trouble.
As long as it's not illegal. Okay.
Hey, listen, it's very legal. I have Crohn's disease. If you want to learn more about that, CBS will cast me on 49 and I'll share my life story. But hey, video is in. I'm training with grip strength.
Grip strength, dude.
Grip strength like Charlie, not like Joseph. Come on.
Like this is like Carrot Top called in.
Look, I'm not familiar with Carrot Top. I'm sorry, but
a lot of props.
Rob, I became a patron like 3 weeks ago. This whole year has been a life-changing year. I've fully just embraced myself because community. I've always been me. And I just got bullied as a kid. And screw those people.
Okay, perfect.
Great. So I'm wearing the Grateful Dead shirt for Baby Andy. Let me get my tinfoil hat on.
He's got more than 4 friends now.
Oh, of course. And look, I was John Loveit. I was John Loveit. I was John Loveit in high school. I had literally 0 friends. My friend was look. So listen, Baby Andy. Let's just get into Survivor. I don't want to take up any more time. Right? I'm not a character. This isn't my show, but. I'm sitting there in the premiere. I drafted Baby Andy first round in my family's draft. I'm like, let's go.
Oh, you drafted Baby Andy? Must be nice. I have John Loveit.
Well, I have Baby Andy, I have Aysha, and I have my man Rome, who had a very interesting premiere. But Baby Andy is who I want to talk about because I see a lot of myself in him. And then I watch that premiere and I'm like, oh, no, I don't want that to happen for me one day. Right.
Yeah.
And look, I don't have the experience. I've never been to Fiji to play Survivor. That very well could happen to me, right?
Yeah.
But here's my tinfoil hat theory, because this is all calculated. This is a strategy. This is a move by Andy. We have talked about in the past. I'm going to take this off because it's a little silly. Yeah. But like you and Stephen Fishback have talked about on Know It Alls, like what is the line that we can toe in terms of making yourself appear as this, oh, he can't win, let's drag him to the end, this GOAT, right?
Yeah.
Versus making yourself the immediate first boot. And because, he might have clocked John Loveit as the first boot, or maybe where there were talks that weren't shown on the episode, on the edit, maybe he knew like, okay, if we lose first, I can throw John under the bus, like he talked about. And he didn't ultimately want to do that. And then once that became like the reality.
Yeah. So I don't think that that's exactly like you're saying that there was like some sort of like premeditation on what Andy did. And I really don't think that that was the case. And Andy, I think, might have like some big ideas, and hopefully he sticks around long enough that we get to see them. But from what I understand, I listened to John Loveit on his podcast talk a little bit more about this, that as Jeff told us, the yellow tribe and the blue tribe were total disasters. That I believe that the Asia's red team, that I believe that they finished their entire puzzle while the other tribes were still in the water. Like it took. So for Andy, I believe that Andy was just so overly exerted. Like John Loveit was saying, it took so long for them to get the challenge done. I just think that it was sheer, like Andy was just totally gassed. I don't think that there was any sort of like premeditation to what he was doing to sort of like just like I think he really just like gassed himself out.
No, I could totally see that, and like, you know, that's why I'm doing.
And I saw that Lindsay Carmine in the Patreon was like, and maybe he was not even back to like at the point that he was on the mat to do the like maybe he wasn't even back to 100% yet to be back out there like talking about these things. So I don't think that there was any sort of like, you know, strategy coming from Andy in any of that.
That's honestly probably the correct take, and this is just me as somebody who drafted Baby Andy first round, RHAP patron.
Yeah, you're a guy in a Grateful Dead shirt calling in a podcast with a tinfoil hat on. Like, I get it.
Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, man, you put everything into the best words, and this is why I love you. Long Island strong, baby.
Yes, Steven, I love the effort and the energy. Please, keep it coming, okay?
Listen, I'm so happy I joined, and that was really all I wanted to say. To give Baby Andy his props, like he clearly has the mind for the game, and like let's show him some grace. Like there's only like what 23 more days to go. Anything could happen.
The guy knows his stuff. There's about 100 patron calls that are like this that you could go back and watch. That we have the receipts, okay, and. I hope I'm not speaking too much out of school. I did send word to Baby Andy. Hope you're doing okay. And he said that he has been staying offline, and he is at least to me made it sound like that he's doing pretty good. So just to pass that along from Baby Andy. Okay.
Yeah, that's all I can hope. I mean, personally, that's all I can hope for. Like, I see, honestly, a lot of myself. I'm working in AI soon, and RHAP patron. Like, I want to make you proud if I ever get the chance. So, gotta support Baby Andy, right? And thank you for entertaining my props and all this.
Okay. All right, keep up the good work, Steven. Okay.
Happy next month.
All right, take care. Bye. All right. Great call by Steven. Rack him. Okay, let's say hello to Josh. Hey, Josh, how are you?
Good. Tough act to follow, though, Rob.
Tough act to follow, although props to you. Really appreciate it. Very nice tweet the other night, Josh.
No, of course. What a moment to have Rob Has a Podcast called out on the show. I mean, I know I'm just grateful that we're in this era of Survivor and Rob Has a Podcast really being
coexisting.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's beautiful. It's so great.
I really did kind of think that, you know, with all the talk about community, like leading up to the season, I kind of felt like that they were like going to lean into that like a little bit about like, hey, like, this is a community between like, there's never been a time when you, the person who's sitting on the couch and the person who's on the island you've never been closer. You're like, we're all part of like this weird club / family that is Survivor.
Yeah, no,
there's like half a degree of separation between you, the person who's watching, and what's happening right here.
They're definitely doing everything they can to decrease that distance with all the, you know, the beach drops, like the live screenings. Like they're really
find another show that is you get more access to on television. Of like you don't get to watch, you know, Abbott Elementary or. Name another show. I don't know.
I mean, not even these other reality shows. Like it's different than even like, you know, Real Housewives or The Traders. Like those people are on, you know, like a whole different planet as far as
right. You don't watch, you know, a Real Housewives of Atlanta and hang out with Phaedra.
Yeah, exactly. So I love that they're leaning into it, and also of course like kudos. I mean, I'm just glad that you getting some recognition, some name drops. You know, like what 40 almost 40 seasons since you played. Like I don't know, it's awesome.
Almost, yeah. Next season will be 40 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But one person that I'm wondering, has he joined our community? What are the chances that Obama watched this episode? I couldn't help but think of like. Yeah,
I don't know how close. Like I wonder maybe if like Jon Favreau was on the season, maybe Obama would have watched it. I kind of get the sense that like I feel like that John, like from the Pod Save America that I've listened to, I kind of feel like that they sort of like treat John as sort of like that he's like the person in the friend group who, you know, gets like the pot shots. So yeah, I don't know. I think that probably he saw a clip. I doubt that Barack Obama and Michelle sat around and watched Survivor on Wednesday night.
Yeah, probably not while they're actively out there, you know, on the road right now.
Probably not.
Yeah,
probably not.
So, okay, you talked about mud. Can I talk about mud for a second?
Go for it.
I won't talk 10 minutes, I promise. But I just want to say I like the idea of the mud.
I do too.
You had a good take about like it's tough in the beginning to just put mud on people's faces over the colors of their buffs and their shirts and stuff.
Yeah,
and
that's my only complaint about it. Like, I get it. I think thematically certainly makes sense and everything. I just like, could we give them their buffs after they go through the mud? Like you go through the mud and then put your buff on.
Yeah, I like baptism by mud. I used to be a minister, like I used to baptize people, whatever. So whatever. I've thought a lot about baptism as a symbol, and I like the idea of like Survivor is not real world. Like in the real world, what Rachel was doing with Andy would be morally, you know, corrupt. But like in Survivor, I thought she played it really well with like not like recognizing I can't just perfectly cater to this hurting person, you know, because it's gonna have social implications on my game. So like Survivor is a game where you have to go from the real world and you have to experience this baptism of not from water, which cleanses you, but this mud that completely, you know, dirties you. You got to step into the game and be willing to do things you wouldn't do in the outside world. So I love the like symbolism and the symbology of like having this moment at the beginning of the season. Every time, let's do it. But practically, it was tough. I mean, it just I wasn't
or lower third who they are or something like I just like I'm watching. I'm like, wait, who is that? Is that which woman is that? Yeah,
it was tough. But the production level, like the drone cameras following everybody, like during the challenges, like they're
insane.
They're doing so much. I know Steven was hot on this about like they deserve the Emmy. Like there's just no question there's any other show that competes with them, whether or not they're going to get recognized. But I love the not only what they did with the mud, but also I do like that they mixed up the sweat and savvy like thing. I thought that this worked a lot better. I don't know if you've talked about it yet on a podcast, but I just thought that this narratively worked way better than Sweat and Savvy.
Well, I didn't talk about it narratively, but I did talk about that. I liked it a lot better in terms of like, you know, I think if this was even offered in the future to contestants, I think you might have a situation where, and I know that nobody wanted to do, I guess TK wanted to do it, but nobody from Aysha's tribe wanted to do it. I could see myself wanting to go do that, like just to do like a heads up coin flip of it's me versus another person to win the stuff, or like who's feeling confident enough to win this heads up battle, as opposed to like like the risk proposition of Sweat versus Savvy of like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm going to volunteer for Savvy. I'm going to gas myself out for the entire rest of the day today. So I'm going to be diminished in the immunity challenge tomorrow. You know, maybe like, you know, completely useless where I'm going to get voted out. For what? To get the pot and the machete? Like, we'll get it eventually.
Yeah. And I think that like having it more simple, like both by like decreasing the amount of characters who are doing, you know, the like this mini challenge at the beginning of the episode also helps us like remember things clearer. I think also like I literally having it a linear challenge where you're like doing step by step and then going back to get the key. Like it just feels like let's not make this so complicated. Let's not have a puzzle that's like impossible to follow at home, you know, or a sweat challenge where you like where it's just really hard to know what progress they're making like in this mini challenge. I just thought like they've like simplified the beginning of the season, and I just think that that's like, I don't know, paying dividends. They're even simplifying like the idol situation, I think, as well. Like I know like the boxes is a little bit complex, but again, it's linear, which I think is just like what is like super helpful with following these little like mini challenges or these advantages.
I thought that the actual challenge itself of finding the keys, I thought it was just fine, but I feel like the idea of like some sort of like heads up battle that, you know, is fair, not like a super an equitable comp, they say, was fine. I think that this was a good way to do it, better than Sweat and Savvy.
Yeah, I thought so. And then of course, God bless Teeny for saving a seat for Asia, like she was Elijah about to return, you know, at any moment.
So good job. Helped Teeny get a fishy.
Yes. I don't have any. I try to come up with my best Galaxy brain takes. This episode was not the most strategic, really. I think I lean towards the tribe doing a good. I kind of think I understand getting rid of John here instead of Andy, and I think that I wonder, like you were saying on with Steven, I believe, like that. Like I wonder if John got a little bit better at it than we saw, and like just they kind of obfuscated his social disconnect with the rest of the young people.
We didn't see what anybody else thought of John. John said on his podcast he thought the edit was very fair, was very like no problems with the edit. So I don't know. Could be a good question for the other folks if we get the chance to talk to them.
Yeah, the one thing that he did say that was also interesting on his podcast, it was a very small tidbit, but he did say that he's like, they knew who I was. Like he had a little small aside talking with Fabs, like about like they did recognize me. And I think that was not clear on the show. And I feel like, that they, that might've also contributed to things. Okay. I wonder if we'll hear more about that later.
All right. Josh, thank you as always for the call.
Rob, thank you as always. I'm
so glad we're
back.
Soon. We're back. We're still back. Okay.
See ya.
All right. Take care. Bye. All right. Let me say hello to Mark. Hey, Mark. How are you?
Hey, I'm on. Hey.
Yes.
How's it going?
Mark. Yes. Nice buff.
Thank you. Coming to you live from Taipei, Taiwan. Actually, it's past midnight here. Anyway.
Wow. Okay.
So we have a very similar draft team. So I'm part of one of Randy's drafts. We share a winner pick, and also happy grenade day to both of us.
Yeah.
Except I had Saul, and you had, who else did you have?
I took Sierra.
Sierra, I think is a pretty decent pick.
Yeah. Saul, I think is pretty good. I just thought that Saul had a pretty light premiere, just in terms of like getting the type of like first episode you would expect to get from the person that's going to win the show, but wouldn't be the craziest thing that ever happened.
I think Saul had a very mixed reaction from his pre-season interview.
Yes.
But I think people are starting to warm up to him after the premiere, and I think
I've seen nothing but Saul love online. Like people in the draft were like, draft Saul, and people seemed like very high on Saul.
Yeah, and I know people didn't contribute John's loss to this that much, but some people were saying that he maybe talked a little too much in like on site and
in front of Jeff, like on Matt Chat,
in front of Jeff, like in camp as well. I think that's also what might have contributed to him getting voted out.
I can't speak to in camp, but I could see a scenario where, somebody, like, I think everybody comes into the game and it's like, hey, let's not attract a lot of attention. Let's not like, get Jeff, like give him anything. And then if you have somebody who's like getting like very like lippy and sort of like being a little bit of like a camera hog, I do wonder if that maybe could rub people the wrong way.
Yeah. And, in Big Brother, we also say that just go to sleep until jury. And
yes,
I don't know if this, we might have touched on this in the past a little bit, but I don't know if that kind of applies here as well in Survivor, because we had a lot of winners that had really light pre-jury edit. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know what your I mean, I think it's a pretty valid strategy. I mean, to me, I feel like that Survivor in the new era
is a lot different than Big Brother, where and Taryn, has been such a great advocate of talking about the game of Big Brother and hey, positioning, get your position, build your structure early, day one, like go for the first HOH, get your people. I don't think that behooves you in Survivor. I think that Survivor, there's so much randomness in the game that almost every round, especially in the pre-merge, I think is a much more of like a Sandra situation of anybody but me. I think go to sleep before the merge. I mean, I don't think that there are too many people that they get to the merge and it's like, oh, I'm screwed because I don't have my numbers at the merge. Like there's been very little, maybe Survivor 45 being the one exception to that in the new era. But I think that really the name of the game in the Survivor New Era is just get to the merge and don't be one of the people that the group ever says, all right, today it's Mark.
I mean, yeah. So because Michelle had a light edit, Erica had a light edit, Dee also had a light edit. And so that's kind of why I'm coming up with this theory. Just stay asleep pre-merge and just go full out when you come to the merge.
Yeah. Gabler, when he got to the merge, had a lot of stuff going on in the beginning of the game, but then was very under the radar. And Kenzie too was somebody who was not really on people's radar.
Yeah, but and much love to Andy. I hope he can go back to sleep until the merge. I don't know if there's much room for him to do that.
That was the problem.
Hey, that was the problem. And yeah, so that's about it for me. Thank you for taking my call. Okay. John for Traders season 4.
Yeah. Okay.
If he's not too busy.
All right.
And,
that'd be good.
Thanks.
All right, Mark. Take care.
Bye.
Okay. All right. Let me pick up. Let's say hello to Connor B. Hey, Connor.
Hey, Rob, how you doing?
What's going on?
Doing well. I'm doing well. Just taking a test for my MBA, but it's 24 hours, so got plenty of time.
Okay, you have 24 hours to complete the whole test.
Yeah.
A real savvy
a few less than 3
test.
days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wanted to talk about my thought process, and Josh mentioned it earlier. I watched the premiere with my brother-in-law. He's never seen an episode of Survivor before. And he pegged John Loveit as the first boot the moment that he mentioned that he was a speechwriter for Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, did Pod Save America. And not necessarily because of his politics, but because of the fame that kind of comes from that. And I'm curious how much that could affect him being a target. I think it's clear that he would have a big storyline. It's clear that he would have a lot of confessionals because he's well known. And I'm curious if that would be a cause for people to target him on the island.
It certainly could be a reason that people target him. I don't know if I know in his package, in his intro package, they showed that he was with Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. I don't know if he told the people on the island that that's what he did. So it's unclear. I think that you could certainly imagine that was the case, but it's just we'd just be speculating because nobody even implied that in the episode. So it's definitely possible.
Fair enough. And the other thing that I just have been thinking about.
I would just say that I think Occam's razor is still that, okay, he was, as we talked about with Rainer early on, that just being the weakest guy in the tribe, I think was okay, well, how many are we going to be back at tribal council if we vote out Andy here? So why don't we just vote out John?
So I was also watching, because John reminded me a lot of David Wright. I mean, I feel like David Wright, Cochran, very, very esque in terms of their personalities, self-deprecation. So I rewatched the premiere of Millennials versus Gen X today, and David did this interesting thing, which Baby Andy ended up doing, which was after the challenge, kind of calling the tribe together and really just saying hey, I know that I messed up. I know that I am probably a target. But I pledge my loyalty. And I really wonder, how much of an impact that could make on day one.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Now, for David Wright, who physically is more of a John Loveit than a baby Andy, he had the benefit of, I believe he was on a 10-person tribe, as opposed to John Loveit, who is unfortunately on a smaller, a 6, soon to be a 5-person tribe. But yeah, that is interesting to sort of acknowledge, hey, my bad, I screwed up, but like, I'm with you. I do wonder if maybe that can help, like, okay, turn the page of like, okay, we've sort of acknowledged this thing, and everybody's like, okay, well, now what do we do? As opposed to, I guess, if you don't acknowledge it, then people are saying like, okay, well, like, we're gonna go after Andy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's interesting to sort of like say, just to like let the unsaid thing be said, and maybe there's a little bit of like, okay, well, now what do we do?
Well, especially, I know John, I believe in his exit interview, mentioned like, obviously Andy was the boot that they were telling him, so he couldn't just like keep going up and being like, oh, hey, we're doing Andy, right? So I wonder if that kind of, I mean, it's all speculation, but I wonder if that caused him to end up targeting Annika instead.
Yeah, as opposed to just like keep your fingers, and and he says in the episode, I don't want to like go out without taking my shot here, and so I'm going to go for it. But yeah, the shot in the dark, I do think made for some interesting ramifications of, if they're already telling him Andy, there's not a lot of campaigning he can do, but let's really do it, right? Like, let's not just it's like, we told you, we're voting for Andy. Like, no, but seriously though, right?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that would look more paranoid to go up to people and be like, so it's very, just the paranoia of that. I love premieres. Like, the premieres are typically my favorite episode of the season because there's so much.
I think that's a hot take.
That typically comes. I think I agree. I love the premiere. I love Baptism by Mud. I'm not gonna lie. I think, like, I love the challenge. I love kind of the I just love all that kind of comes with it. It's the start of the season. It's fun too. I mean, there's just that level. But I thought John was a great. I think he took it well. I think he was a great first boot for the season, and I'm interested to see kind of the ramifications. My friend also mentioned, he's like, I wonder what the tribes are gonna think when they see Andy have this giant meltdown in front of everyone. And then he's still there.
They're gonna be like,
next
what?
Day.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
I think it'll be a fun reaction.
I did text to some people that is John Loveit the new era's David Sampson.
I wrote before the season started, I wrote predictions, and I said that John Loveit will be a David Sampson first boot.
Mm-hmm.
I
saw David Sampson
writing.
tweeted to John Loveit also, like, "Hey, welcome to the club."
So it's
another podcast.
I think he's David Sampson is.
Yeah, David Sampson is a pretty big podcast.
Yeah, I don't follow him.
Yeah,
admittedly. But yeah, I think John was great. I'm excited to see how the season goes. But I was really curious. Just, I'm not normally a tinfoil hat person, but really
not like
the level of how much he might have been recognized, how much that might have affected him.
So, very possible.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Connor. Thank you so much. Okay. All right.
Thank you, Rob.
Care. Bye. Okay. Let's go to Jeff is on hold. Hey Jeff, how are you? Boy, look how the world has changed since the last time we were talking. What was it, back in May? But you're still on mute.
Sorry. Hey Rob. Yes, I was sitting outside the last time we spoke, and then I've been waiting for you to come back to Non-Big Brother, and I'm still here.
Yes, you're still here, and somehow so are the Mets. The Mets were like baby Andy back in May, and we were like, that's it, it's over.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Hopefully they won't pass out.
And if they can come back,
no heat stroke. No, that's hopefully they won't pass out. It's very exciting, isn't it? And speaking of tinfoil hats, our Jets are 2-1 also.
Very exciting night. Yeah, big night. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a great night, and nice to be back here with you, virtually chilling.
Yes, and Elisa says, "Look at this soothing background."
Yes, thank you. That's actually the background. It's not fake background.
Yeah, I see it.
But I virtually chilling. I've been waiting to say that since you interviewed Ben. What was that in July?
Yeah,
I had that line queued up for you. So that was a great interview.
yeah. Well, thank you so much. Okay, so what's going on, Jeff? What'd you think?
No, well, the one Survivor that I cared about is gone, because the rest of them I could barely get through the interviews. I was excited about Loveit, another one of my favorite podcasters, and I don't want to keep heaping praise on you, but I haven't spoken with you for a few months. Your interview with him, watching you side by side, when you said how many 40-ish white male podcasters would they want, that was outstanding. You did
said
great
two.
there.
He said two.
Yeah, two. Yeah, and I like your previous caller, the one with was it Rachel, the one with the child, talking about his interest in podcasts, getting Probst's attention.
Yes.
So you remember, I have a Mets podcast, National League Town, with a big 80 listeners a week. So if they want a 65-year-old cisgender white guy, which is exactly what they want, I'm right here.
Hey, look, you sounds like you got your video. You can clip this. Send it right to cbs.com.
That's right in the trash file. But I did not like the mud. Not that it was a bad challenge. I just want to learn who these people are.
That's what I've been saying. Yeah.
And the same thing with the faces in the lockbox. I want to see who they are. And one, you mentioned don't give them the buff right away. I think one of them.
What faces in the lockbox?
The faces in the toolboxes, whatever they were. They were looking in the boxes the whole time, and it was a single camera shot. I want to see more people.
Okay.
I want to see more activity.
All right. So when they were looking for the keys, you didn't like that it was so much of them, like them in the boxes.
Yeah, that I didn't think it was. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
But at first episode, I want to learn who the crew is. That's all.
That's
all. But I thought Loveit handled it well, and your interview with him was fine. I enjoyed him on Pod Save America today. I'm concerned that Andy's going to be the new Banu.
Oh no! Please.
Yeah. No, because
that Jeff.
That ruined. That was one of the reasons why my enthusiasm for this season has been curbed. The way the Banu era. And another thing, I had an hour to get through this. I think about these things, so I want to get through it before you go. I listened to some of Jeff Probst's podcast today, which I think is called. Is that what it's called? I thought it was called Jeff Probst Knows More Than You and Wants to Tell You.
Well, I mean, in fairness, he does. He's the host. Yeah,
I want to tell you how smart he is. So he said, "Well, we didn't know they were going to dump the thing over. We tested it with the Dream Team,
with the boat.
One thing with the Dream Team is that they're professional testers. So they know they're not, yes, their adrenaline's not flowing. They're not playing. Then it's not new to them though. So they're calm. Yeah. There's no pressure on them. They may have known to distribute their weight better. They may have known how to paddle because they paddled before.
Right.
So I think that's Charlie was explaining that some people don't know how to paddle. And so I think Probst's explanation was incomplete. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a good point. They need like a scream team they need like some like Survivor tourists that come in. You go to Survivor camp and then you test the challenges. Like you don't ever get to see the players, but you come to Survivor fantasy camp and then they throw you in, like at the end of your time, they throw you in a challenge and it's everybody's first challenge and they have to go through it. And then they can see like a realistic expectation of what it's going to be like for people who are just like have not been in a Survivor challenge before.
Lots of waivers, a lot of waivers and NDAs there, but that's a good idea.
Sure, they sleep on the beach. It costs them nothing. It's all profit.
I agree. So if the Mets make the playoffs, are we going to get Rob as a baseball podcast?
I don't know if you need me podcasting. If there was a chance for that, it was probably a better chance when I was on the West Coast when I could have not done it at like 12:30 at night. But let me see what we can do. Let's not put the cart before the horse. I'm just hoping for not too many Wednesday night games, although each one would be that's a rich person's problem to have, of too many playoff games colliding with Survivor.
Yes, let's hope we have that problem and just win tonight. I want to thank you for this community And to the mishpucha out there, I don't know if you know that. You're from Long Island. You've heard that word.
I've not heard that one. What is that?
Family.
The family, yeah.
For the crew, because my Survivor, and I'll leave with this. My Survivor interest diminished last season with the way it ended, and the fact that the people's monetary needs are more important than how they play. We've discussed this. We had a vehement argument about this. We exchange blows there, but that bothers me. And I miss Ponderosa, and I miss the merge dinner or whatever it was called, and a lot of it. I don't like the show as much, and Banu, of course. But if I stopped watching, I would miss you. And
thank you, Jeff.
I would miss the group and my family as a chat. So the show is secondary at this point to that.
I get that. So, Jeff, and all I'll say is it was only the first episode. Maybe they could win you back. That the thing you didn't like only happened 2 episodes ago.
That's true. The Mets have won me back. And,
look at where we were back in the spring, okay? Anything's possible. You got to believe. All right, Jeff?
That's right. Thank you very much. Hello to everybody out there. LGM. Bye.
Okay, bye. Okay. All right. Here, let's then pick up, okay? Joey has been waiting, of course. Everybody in the Survivor Q&A knows Joey. Joey, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I don't know if everybody knows me, but maybe I guess.
Maybe.
I don't think so.
If they're a regular viewer of the Survivor Q&A and the Big Brother Q&A, they know Joey. Joey is at college now.
Yes, I am. I am at college at the American metropolis, the city that never sleeps, Columbia, Missouri.
Okay.
Just a wonderful place.
All right.
I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's going on, Joey? What'd you think of the premiere?
I liked it. I love Survivor, and
are we going to see you on Survivor one day, Joey?
I mean, I apply. I've applied for like the past 3 years or whatever, but I think a straight white nerd isn't really something that they're in need for in casting. So I don't really know.
They do have like their pick of the litter, but look, and maybe I don't know, maybe they're shying away from casting as young as they have in the past. Maybe they're gonna just wait a couple more years before they give the call back.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not panicked about the whole thing. I'll keep applying.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I enjoyed the episode. I thought it was good. I really think 45, 46, and 47 have all had good premiere episodes for very different reasons. 45, sure, had the Hannah quit, but I think that is a hilarious episode. Really, really funny episode. 46 is interesting, also funny, but in Jelinski, two elements of failure in those. And this one is really interesting strategically, in my opinion. And part of the reason for that is we've seen something that we haven't seen since David versus Goliath in this season, which is a celebrity that gets recognized on Survivor, and potentially 2. And that would be the dual podcasters. That would be Aysha and John.
Yeah.
And, Connor B was talking a little bit earlier about celebrity, the idea of how much can celebrity impact somebody on the first day. And it's so fun that he was talking about that, because I actually did a bit of research into that. And I found it fascinating to think about, if somebody recognizes you on Survivor, is that a benefit to your game, or is that a detriment to your game? Because,
well, I would just say in the case of Aysha versus like John Loveit or like a Jeff Kent, like I think that there is like this idea of with like a celebrity of it's like, oh, okay, they're famous, they don't need this, they're up here and we're here. In the case of like a Teeny and Aysha, or anybody that recognizes Aysha, while I guess I was concerned that people were like, oh, well, she's a super fan, we got to get rid of her. It's a little bit like this thing of ours, like this community. It's a little bit like, oh, that person's in my fraternity, that person's in my sorority. It's like I recognize them, that they're the same as me. And it's not necessarily like that Teeny is like, oh, there's that, some people do call her Aysha Welch sometimes, but not from her podcasting career.
Yeah, and it was interesting because I sort of had to break down the celebrities into 2 categories. There's the John Loveit category, which is I'm famous because I do something famous And then there's the other category, the Asia category, the much more rare category, which is I am reality TV, aligned to some extent. So some people can be both. Mike White is both, but like the Natalie Andersons of the world are reality TV. The Hayden Mosses of the world are reality TV. Only people who are really in the weeds of reality television will probably recognize these people versus a Jimmy Johnson or, something like that, where a lot of people.
Joey, I think it's going to be like maybe a thing that has happened. Not that we're going to have more RHAP podcasters calling in, but I don't think it's crazy to think that there's going to be more patrons calling in, more people that go to the live shows, people that go to Bryce and Wen. And as like the community of super duper fans becomes like, in some ways, not necessarily smaller, but tighter, where if you are a Survivor super fan, like the people who care and know the most about Survivor are like, it's very easy to find like what their thoughts are. And maybe they're not necessarily a podcaster, but they're people who are, prolific tweeters about the show or make TikToks. And I think that you'll see this more and more as Survivor moves ultimately into the 50s, as the people who are like probably the most prolific talking about the show are going to get on the show and recognize each other more and more.
Yeah, and that point is really interesting because I do think that's why we have this divide of like, especially with Asia, like no other celebrity that I think's ever been on the show are people, when she's gone on this journey or whatever, are people legitimately like, well, I'm saving a spot in my alliance for Asia, just to be fair. You're not going to get that with anybody else. But the fact that Asia is known as, like somebody who knows the game well, somebody who's generally trustworthy, somebody who, people know her general vibe, her general deal, and like is almost predictable and a potential ally. Like that's very important. And that's not something you can get by watching Jimmy Johnson or John Loveit or anything.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I say to people, if you are on the fence, thinking about, getting more involved in this community, like, don't be shy because someday you might be glad that you did.
Yeah, and it's very interesting because a lot of the reality TV people were very trustworthy. Like people really trusted Mike White. People really trusted Caleb Reynolds before he got medevaced. People really trusted Hayden Moss. These are some of the most trustworthy people in their tribes. Partially because, they're good players. They've been on other reality TV, but also because like people know how they played. People recognize Mike White. People recognized Hayden Moss, certainly. And people recognize Asia. And I think that that being able to tell how they play is important, especially when you put that against people who you don't know, like Lisa Wetchell. You don't know how she's going to play. So she's very
Penner knew who she was.
Jimmy Johnson.
Same job.
Jimmy Johnson was viewed as a threat for being too much of a leader. Isn't that crazy? But that's
I think it was more that he's rich. He's yeah.
That's but what I'm saying is these traditional celebrities, like they have a harder time. They have that day one perception, and I think John Loveit did too. And John Loveit played well. I don't think he should have been the first boot, but I think he did make a crucial mistake when he immediately sort of alienated himself from the rest of the tribe by saying, this is what I do. I do a podcast. I was a speechwriter. I'm famous. You're not. And even if it didn't actually contribute to him getting voted out, I do think it helped contribute to the rest of the tribe mates maybe not gelling with him as well. Maybe sort of feeling more comfortable with each other's age group rather than John.
You know what? So. It's a good point in terms of John with his tribe. And I always think of Rudy with this. And Rudy is somebody who, was not really, a gamer. But there was something that he said back in the very first season about how he said, hey, there's more of them than there are of me. And he was like, how do I fit in with them? Not necessarily like, how do I, you got to make them feel like they're running the show. He's part of what they're doing, not necessarily like, and not to say that he wasn't trying to connect with them, but I just feel like you can't make them feel like you're separate at all.
Yeah, and I agree. And I think John did do that, unfortunately. And even though Andy, a lot of criticisms about his game, one thing you can't take away from him is he really tried to connect with his peers as a peer. And John tried to connect with them, but it was more like, hey, I remember Vine. I was 30
Yeah, I'm
when
on
Vine was
TikTok.
popular,
Right.
but it's different. And maybe that's just natural personalities. And I'm sure that's a large part of why John wasn't really able to find an alliance, like somebody to really connect with. I mean, he talked at length about how he felt comfortable with a few different people, but there's a difference between feeling comfortable with someone and actively working with them. And John just wasn't able to do that. So,
yeah. Okay. Joey, are you on TikTok?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not on most social medias. I mean, if you look me up, you can find me places, but I'm not active.
Yeah. Do you think it's interesting that like that yellow tribe, was there not a lot of like age diversity? I feel like that they were all like from like 26 to like 30.
Yeah, I want to
Like
say
I wonder if it
yeah.
would have helped John if there was like, a 21-year-old also.
Yeah, I don't necessarily remember all of their ages. I mean, obviously John was 41. I
Yeah.
think Andy's 21. I think Rachel was like 26. But I think
I think Sam might be younger too. I think he's like 24 maybe.
Yeah, I think age diversity by itself isn't something that can like it can alienate you, but it's not going to get you voted out of the game. I mean, I look at Sue. I think she's the oldest person in the game this season, and she was able to connect very well with her tribe. But also she's catering to them basically. And John didn't. He basically, and he even said this in the pregame press, like, I'm throwing all my cards out there. This is who I am. I have this podcast network. You might know who I am. I've done speech writing. And something Mike White did really well is Mike White was recognized, but he didn't shall we say, introduce who he really was until he was already well integrated into the game.
And Mike White was a little bit hosed in that, like, wait, why are you a Goliath?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so he had to, but I feel like that's what the best of these like pseudo like celebrities do, is sort of introduce who they are after a while.
Yeah.
Gary Hogaboom did the same thing, though not intentionally. He didn't want to, but he did.
Okay. All right, Joey. Let me pick up some more calls. Great to be back chatting Survivor with you again, okay?
Of course. I love being on the Survivor Q&A. It's my favorite thing, and thank you for having me on.
Good. Okay. Well, Joey, talk to you soon, okay? All right.
Talk to you soon.
All right. Let me go to Will. I think Will has a prop shirt on, if we want to call it that. Will, how are you?
I'm good. I've got my U shirt.
The
on.
exclusive Eras RHAP, the new Eras t-shirt, patron only.
Yes, I bought it the second like you announced.
Wow.
It on
Will,
one of these
thank you so much.
The video and went to the link, like bought it immediately.
All right. Will, what's going on?
I had to have it. But I'll keep it short because my wife's friend's fiance is bringing over a recliner, so I have to help get that through the door. But
is
I wanted
it a
to put on
recliner
my.
for you guys?
Yes, we have one, but it's broken and it's like 2 feet too small for me. Like my legs hang off of it, so we needed to get in there.
All right, enjoy.
But I'll keep it short. But I wanted to put my tinfoil hat on as well. And as we have recently learned this summer, CBS is not opposed to putting plants on these reality shows. And I think there's an argument to be made that they told John, like, hey, you come on Survivor, you only have to be there for 3 days.
You're going to say Baby Andy was a plant. Yeah.
No, but they tell John that you got 3 days, you just have to sleep outside for 2 nights, you can go home, then you promote our show on night talk shows and you podcast about the show, and then your fans will want to tune in and watch the show, and we can plaster your face all over the commercials.
Sure. And
I don't know. I think there's something there.
I don't know. I don't know, Will. So I think this is extra tinfoily. First of all, I don't think that John enjoyed being the first boot. I don't think this was like a situation like another political figure. Are you a Big Brother guy? Well, obviously,
of course.
if you know, but yeah. So I was going to say, a Scaramucci, who was, allegedly like a person who wasn't a real player. He was a twist, but if John like went to the show, came in for 3 days, and then like, oh, like I have my my ulcer, I have to leave. I think that might be different. He seemed like that he was concerned about like that people were going to give him crap for this. I mean, he stayed at Ponderosa the whole time for, just for
it's a free vacation in Fiji.
It's a free
Rob.
vacation. I don't know. He's a wealthy guy. He doesn't need a free vacation to Fiji to sit at Ponderosa for 23 days. So I don't think that it would necessarily have been a John Loveit as a production plant.
Yeah, I do say it in jest.
Yeah.
I don't think Angela's a plant. But
I buy Angela as a plant more than that. Makes more sense than this one.
Yeah, but I don't know if you've listened to Tyson's podcast from this
Not
first
this
episode
week,
yet,
no.
But I did agree with him, like what he was saying. Like
he had Hannah Rose on.
Yes, and I really hated John going into this season, and I'm glad that he went home first because I really felt like they were going to absolutely shove him down our throats.
Tyson didn't like him?
Yeah, well, he said that like he felt like he had just seen way too much of him in the commercials, and so he was put off by him. Nothing against John. I thought he was great on the show. He had kind of turned me around in the 2-hour episode, but I was really worried going in that they were going to shove him down our throats, and that was just all we were
I do think that we would have gotten a lot of John Loveit had he stuck around, but it's not the case.
But anyways, okay. I'll let you go. Thanks for taking my call,
good luck with
Rob.
that recliner, okay?
Thanks.
All right, take care. Bye. All right, let me say hi to Ethan. Ethan, how have you been?
Great. 47. It's exciting.
47.
How are you?
Yep. We're back.
Yeah, let's do it.
We're back. The Mets are back.
The Mets are back. And that Jeff, all that talk about the Mets and Mishpucha, I felt like I was looking into my future.
Yes. Okay.
What a lovely conversation.
Yeah. Okay. We'll get the router in the backyard.
Yeah. Also, that looked great. Yeah, I like John. I was bummed he was gone. I definitely don't think it was a plant from just listening to him.
No, I mean, I definitely, I think that was like in jest. But yeah, he seemed like he really wanted it, and I do think that if you're a notable person and you are willing to go play Survivor, they will put you on the show.
Yeah, I don't doubt that at all. I do agree that like that's a lot of free cross publicity, which I'm sure they were thrilled to do. And I think they would do that for any celebrity who wanted to be on, because I mean, I heard more about it. Obviously it's election season. So like, obviously
I think it was a win-win for, for John to go out and like, I don't know necessarily like, if, John is getting booked on like a ton of other shows, like as a solo, like maybe with all the Pod Save America guys, but I don't know, like as a solo act.
I just like in my Venn diagram of friends who like Survivor and friends who like Pod Save America, I guess there wasn't a ton in the middle. And I heard from all of the Pod Save people like, oh my God, are you excited about this? I was like, I'm actually very excited about this.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I thought it was great. And I agree. I think one of the other callers said, not a huge strategy episode. I think the premieres are usually more like a vibes episode. And look, obviously some dark moments in the first one, but like overall, like the vibes were good. It was like, there's some really kooky parts. It seemed fun. I'm just really excited. I think it's going to be a very good season.
Yeah, they do a good job of like, okay, introducing you to all the people that are there and then explaining why the first person went home. I think that's basically the job in the premiere.
Yeah. And like, I think Steven had a good point about like, you're getting good characterization now. They've kind of figured out how to like interweave like the random side quests with like instructing you about the people doing them and the people around them. So yeah, I just like
put the danger back in dangerous fun.
Yeah, I really did think he was going to take a nosedive, trying to get down that mountain. He did not. Look
I thought you were talking about Rome in the well. I guess the question for me, I don't know how deep the well is. Like I feel like the well, that's got to be like 30 feet down.
That was what I figured, but then like I don't know, like there was like a vantage point where you could tell like how far his arm was going before like his hair was getting wet, and it just didn't look that deep, but. Also, yeah, that was crazy. I cannot believe they're going to let the people drink his. You guys talked about this. That's gross.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's Rome water. That's not for me.
Yep. So, yeah, not great.
Yeah, I just was super excited. I'm super excited about the live show. Oh, and I got to say, I know a couple people have brought it up.
Yes.
My wife like elbowed me. I was like giggling like a small child at the Rob Has a Podcast name drop on the show. What an amazing moment. I couldn't believe that. That was so cool.
It was great. I loved it, and I'm glad that so many other people were able to get a kick out of it too. It was a fun night for sure.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Excited for the live event. I know you've been on a very long time.
Okay, well,
yeah, what's up?
No, I was going to say that I know you brought up the live event, and I don't think I'm allowed to reveal any details yet, but we are planning a patron meetup for the Tuesday night also. I know it's, not everybody can get out 2 nights in a row, but if you can, especially if you traveled into town, we are planning a meetup for Tuesday night, and should be no separate ticket required, as long as we're not. I'll let Sam give me the details later. But no ticket. That it's just, but it's a patron only event. Okay.
Very exciting.
He said, "Don't give out the details. It's not it's a patron only event."
I read the chat. I didn't know what I was supposed to say or not, but I don't have any of the details, so I can't give anything out. So,
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. Do you think we'll see Linda Oregon this year, or is that it?
You know what? Honestly, I have not followed his injury, news close enough to be able to tell you.
There is no news. It's like, it's a back. Doesn't seem good.
Doesn't sound good. I know, but they've been so hot.
Piping.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Have a great night. I'll talk to you.
Take care of you then. Bye. Yeah. Let's say hello to Matt. Hey, Matt, how are you?
Hey, Rob. How's it going?
It's going great. Okay, good. And is this another backyard?
Yeah, I'm in my backyard just finishing up some work. So decided
cool.
to work out today.
Nice.
Not too far from Teeny, actually. I live about 20 minutes from Manahawkin.
Okay, in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Now, do you wear scarecrow clothes?
We do not wear scarecrow clothes in New Jersey, no. So she was right on that.
Okay, cool. So what's going on, Matt?
So really, I wanted to talk about, I feel like Survivor seasons, to quote George Lucas, they're like poetry. They rhyme.
They rhyme. Okay, good.
So I was seeing Rachel, and I was actually seeing a lot of Ellie in Rachel.
Okay.
So I didn't know, what your thoughts on that was.
Well, I had been comparing that Yellow tribe to that, Gabler-Owen tribe a lot. So it is interesting that we didn't see Andy completely throw Rachel under the bus yet. But do you think that maybe this could be a situation at the merge of that, Andy gets to merge with her and is like, I tried to talk to her the first night, and then in the middle of that, she wouldn't help me.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. And I was like, by throwing Rachel's name out, he might be throwing Rachel's name out.
Wow. It's interesting. But the only John Loveit and Mariah are not the same. Both maybe like, did they do anything wrong? Maybe we could say. But I do think that there is something there.
There's a Sam and a Sammy.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So
they both wear yellow?
Both wear yellow. Yeah, there's a lot of similarities. And then the other thing, so I know that people brought up already that Andy reminded them of Banu. So my thought was, considering 46 was so fresh in their head, how did they not vote out Andy after he went crazy on them, seeing how Banu threw his whole tribe under the bus not too long after?
That's fair. I just think that they saw like how strong Andy is, and we did not get to see so much of the challenge. So how much was Andy the MVP in any way of getting that boat up to the shore or anything like that? Like, we're just like that. The challenge was just so chopped up that we don't really know, how much of Andy's muscle even got them to the point where, how much did John cost them in the tribe? Did John help tip the boat? I don't know. So these are good questions for the rest of the Yellow tribe.
Absolutely. Well, that's all I had for you, Rob.
Yeah.
Thanks for taking my call.
All right, Matt. Nice to talk to you. Okay.
Have a good
All right. Take care. Bye. All right. Let's say hello to Erica. Hi, Erica. Hold on, Erica. You're muted. And you're back.
Yeah,
yes.
I'm here. Hi.
How are you?
It's nice to talk to you again.
Nice to talk to you. What's going on?
Well, I'm coming to the live show. I convinced my husband that he can go to Big Snow in the Meadowlands while I am watching my Survivor. I'm having my
Okay.
Survivor fix, so I'm excited.
That's fun. Where are you coming in from?
Maryland,
Cool.
so
All
it's
right.
not that far. But
Yeah.
yeah.
It'll be a
This-
fun show.
Yeah, super excited. Very, very excited. What else was I here to talk about? The premiere. It was amazing, right?
Yeah. Great show, for sure. Fun 2 hours. Can't wait for next Wednesday.
Yes, and I'm super excited. Last 2 years, I've really gotten into the community and seen a lot of things. Over the summer, I watched your deep dive on Tony, and then I
Yes.
watched Winners at War, and then I put it all together. I saw how he did it. If he was telling you the truth, that man is brilliant.
I mean, that I've never gone back and rewatched that, but yeah, I mean, why would he lie? Why would he make it up?
I don't know. I mean, it all fit together. It was really great.
Mhm.
But the other thing I was Joey was on not long ago, right?
Yeah.
The college student. Yeah. I tried to play a game of Blood on the Clock Tower.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Grace Leader was, yes.
Yes. How was
they
that?
They made me the drunk.
Yes.
So
Oh,
I
boy.
gave everybody all kinds of bad information. So yeah, but it was fun.
But you
It was
don't know.
hilarious.
You don't know anything. Like you're going off of what, especially if you have never played before.
Yeah, and poor Joey hadn't either. And I'm giving him bad information. I'm like, I know this to be true. And he was believing me, and I felt
Look,
bad.
it's a hard game when you have all the right information.
I know. Anyway, back to the premiere. I know you've been on here for a long time. Asia, I'm going to tell you what, and I don't know if I'm differentiating what I see as her as a podcaster, but you know what she's going to do with these guys?
What?
She's going to be that person that's the calming influence. And I don't know if anybody's really used that word, but everybody's got one of those people in their lives that when you get around them instantly, you're
So,
like, okay.
I could tell you this about Asia, that and as somebody who has gotten to work with her and as a collaborator, Asia is no drama. And this is the person in the friend group that, isn't the person who ever gets busted with oh, here's the receipts of you were talking crap about this person. She's just the person that everybody likes and is no drama and is not stirring the pot, and everybody just feels very at ease and very comfortable with her. And that's how it is with the podcasters in Asia, and I'm sure the listeners feel that way. I've never gotten one complaint in 4 years. Nobody's ever been like, who said something I didn't like? Asia.
Well, the people really do that. They send in, I
Yeah.
can't.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that I do. And sometimes the calls come from inside the house. Yeah. Not Nicole. But we've never had one personality conflict ever with Asia.
That, and you know what? She's going to do great because of it. And I don't know if I'm kind of reading into the times I've seen her on the podcast and
She's
translating that
the
to
glue
the screen.
person. Yeah.
Well, no, that's the other guy.
Yeah. No, but this is better than the glue person. This is the quiet leader.
Yes, the one that makes everything okay. That's what she is to me. Anyway, also Nicole is the most hilarious person ever because I've been listening to your page. She's hilarious.
What did she do? Yeah, she look. You get her on the right day, Erica.
Well, I've listened to a ton of them. It's hilarious. Yeah. She needs her own podcast.
Yeah, but I don't think she really likes to do it. I think that I bring her to the podcast and maybe that's part of her charm with it, because I think that a lot of times she's like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to be on a podcast right now. It's like, but we have to. We said, so it's not by she's doing it just to hear her, own voice. And I will say that she still is struggling with her mouth injury.
I'm sorry to hear that. Okay, one last thing. Oh, go Jets. Although, I didn't realize you were. Yeah, I'm a Ravens fan. So Chappelle.
Yes.
Why is he a Ravens fan? Can you tell me?
He likes purple.
That's why he's a Ravens fan.
I think that was the origin story. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but you guys should have never gotten rid of Flacco. You might Yeah, you might be.
Hey,
You're
we're
doing
doing
great
fine.
this year.
We're
but
doing
you're
fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And if Flacco was doing good with us, we wouldn't have gotten rid of him.
All right. Well, then he went to the Browns and took them to the playoffs. But
Yeah,
I
he
don't
looked like he
know.
didn't want to be playing football when he was on the Jets.
He looked like that when he won the Super Bowl. It's
Yeah.
fine. Okay.
Yeah.
And then my last thing, this season, and I don't know if you recognize it, but I do because I'm from the Mid-Atlantic area, Maryland. There's a bunch of players. So you
Yeah.
have the girl, what's her name? Sierra, the pageant
Yep.
girl.
Yep.
And this isn't going out to people are going to watch this, right? I'm telling you, she's not the most intellectual person on the cast.
Why? What gives you that impression?
Well, she's not. She's your Danielle.
Oh.
What's her name from?
Di Lorenzo?
Ours is
Yeah.
Yes, from ours is from a couple seasons. Yes, she
Yes.
just wants to win things. That's why she was all on board of kicking off John.
Mhm.
These are just my crazy thoughts. You can think whatever you want.
Look, it's just first impressions. Like, you don't like. You're not like, hey, I know Sierra. Let me tell you about her.
No, but
Yeah.
I can tell you about Gabe a little.
Oh, why?
do you
Because
want
he's also
some
a
club-
Baltimore person. Yeah.
He is a Baltimore person. And if you're from the area, I live like 45 minutes north of Baltimore in the burbs or whatever,
Yeah.
but you know what's going on in the city. The campaign that he was the comms director for
Yes.
was for a mayoral candidate. And I'm not going to say her name, but she was thrown out of office and run out of office because she was stealing from the city.
Oh, okay.
So, like, the fact that he
Let me have some of this tea. Oh. It's hot. It's hot. Oh, okay. It just burned my mouth like Nicole.
Well, he's going to do some devious stuff, I think.
Okay,
Because
all right.
he likes Russell Hantz and he would join that campaign.
And he's
Believe you, Rob,
is
the
it-
city. What are you doing? It's like Marion Barry. It's like the same equivalent. I know you probably get the reference on that. The DC mayor, the cocaine.
Well,
the whole
I
thing.
think he wasn't he famous that he was for his using drugs, right? I don't know about his like I
But he
remember
ran
that
for
was
office again and thought that people would vote for him, and they did. The Dodos. But anyway, his campaign lost. Just so you know, we have a different
and the candidate that Gabe supported was in office but then resigned.
No, she ran again after being thrown out and indicted for stealing from the city.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
he joined her campaign, her reelection
After?
campaign. Yes, after knowing all this.
Well, maybe it didn't sound like that. Maybe he had background in that, so maybe she was like, "Okay, I'll take whoever I can get." This guy's on the radio.
Okay, well that's
Mhm.
fine, but like, would you join that? I
I would
don't
not.
know.
I don't know if
Okay.
I'm suited for that. Yeah. All right.
And last bit,
Erica, thank you for
TK.
sharing
No,
that.
one last
and I'll say
last bit.
allegedly.
I'm sorry about that, but TK, I think he's going to do phenomenally. And then that's all I have.
Okay. All right. Look, Erica, I like the spicy takes. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so
All right.
much.
Thank you. Take care.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye bye.
All right. Let me say hello to. How about Stefan is here? Stefan, how you been?
Hey, it's nice to see you.
Nice to see
this,
you too.
This
What's
shirt
happening?
is from NYC Game Changers.
Game Changers
Live show.
Okay.
Yes. I am totally decked out today. So I just wanted to celebrate all of your accomplishments.
It's been a great week, I will say, and it's nice to be back with Survivor.
Yeah, same. This premiere was lit, and as you know, I'm a therapist IRL.
Yes.
I've been practicing for about 2 years, so anytime something like this happens, my antennas definitely go off.
Okay,
and
so
it was very
which
interesting.
thing with Andy?
Yeah, with Andy. All I can say is, like, you know, I don't diagnose people unless they're my client and I've had time with them one-on-one. But what I can say is that Andy had a fight or flight response. And when we get into that emotional, trauma response, sort of what we call the reptilian brain, it's like we do regress to former versions of ourselves. And we rely on coping skills that aren't necessarily the most healthy, that we had once used to get through situations before.
Yeah.
So I think that's what was happening with him. Does that resonate, make sense with you?
I mean, it certainly makes sense that I hadn't heard it put that way. So I mean, makes sense to me.
Yeah, and like, you know, and you've been through this experience before, being a player yourself, but like that, of course, the environment strips you of all of your resources, and it brings out the truth of who you are. That's kind of like why I watched the show from the first place, is for that aspect of it. And yeah, it was very interesting, also very relatable, just like the way that he was describing, just like personally for me. And I just couldn't believe the meltdown on the mat. That was like, I was like in total shock that happened.
It was a wild circumstance because it was especially like in front of all of the tribes. Like I feel like that we, you know, could see a moment like that. I feel like even in like Survivor Philippines, like Russell Swan, I feel like had like something similar. But I think it was at the point where I think the other tribes were I'm trying to remember if they were gone or not in front of the other tribes. I have to go back and look at that. Maybe it was both.
Yeah, but another moment I remember from the mat was from Second Chance with Tasha and Jeff. Yeah, another mat meltdown. Very interesting stuff. But yeah, I've been a little bit sour on the show, but this, I don't know, there's something about this cast and the premiere that has like kind of sparked a little bit of hope for me personally.
Yeah.
And I loved all of the preseason content, and I have a little bit of a hot take for you.
Okay.
I don't think that there's any career that is threatening on this show.
What would be the most threatening career?
Well, I think by the data, I would say that, you know, looking at like players like Sarah and Tony who were cops, and like also Derek on Big Brother, it seems like law enforcement has been a successful career. But I mean, we've seen everything across the board. And I just think that people are focusing way too much on career, when I think that Survivor is more about skills that have, you know, may have nothing to do with your career.
Certainly,
and
in the new era, no reason to, you know, particularly be freaked out about any one career.
Yeah, I mean, I can see people making arguments for that, but and maybe at first when you're there, if you're coming on strong about your career, people might, you know, take that in a different way. But like when you're out there, it seems like you're stripped down to like the bare essentials of who you are and like what you rely on the most, and that those skills come from all sorts of life experiences that don't have anything to do with your job, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you to Josh, who fact checks that Russell Swan's moment was in front of the entire cast.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's like right after they lose the challenge. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, totally makes sense. Yeah. But I wish I could come to the New York show. I won't be there, but I will be there in spirit.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't know if it'll be as exciting as the one that you were at, where Mike Bloom pointed at Malcolm getting voted out of the tribe.
Yes,
I mean, that was an all-time.
Right there. I was like, I saw it happen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Then, all right. Thank you so much, Stefan. Okay.
See ya.
Bye. Okay. Then let's go to Elisa. Are you there? Let me see. Elisa.
Yes, I am here. I am driving into work right now. Well, actually, I just finished. I was working out like half of this podcast, and then now I'm driving in back to work.
Okay. Yes. How's everything going?
Everything's going great. I was low-key hoping, because I called in late anyways. Like I think I called in like 40 minutes ago. But I was also hoping, man, I wonder if I could finish this workout before Rob calls on me. And I did, so it all worked out.
Okay, good. Well, glad it worked out. So what's going on, Lisa?
I'm calling, and I'm just, I have a couple things that I could talk about, but I only want to talk about one thing. But I think the main thing I want to talk about, has anyone talked about Rachel yet on this episode?
A little bit, not that much. Yes.
Okay.
Bobby is like waving his hands frantically. Bobby, you want to talk about Rachel also?
Yes, I do.
Okay, here, let me get
Bobby.
Let's get Elisa
You
first.
get it.
I get it. I get it, Bobby. Okay. I think Rachel is in a very unlucky position right now, and I don't know what to think about how she survives in this game because of Andy still being in the game, to be honest. But I don't think that's Rachel's fault either.
I do. I'm
Yes?
so mad at Rachel because we talk about sparkly people. The opposite of a sparkly person is a prickly person, I think.
Yes.
Okay.
Is prickly. You know she's smart. Like she not only that, but she did the puzzle that yellow wins, right? The comeback, your first loss. It is like the first thing everyone's seeing is that that girl's good at puzzles, right? So we're all pointing and looking at her, seeing that she just saved their team. To vote out the famous podcaster, to vote out the speechwriter, to vote out your person that you're going to need to throw under the bus later was so stupid. And I will say that to her face openly because I know she doesn't take it.
Okay.
Because she's claiming Kellen Bechtel, she's claiming these people who we know thought.
Wait, is this like blood on the clock that you can claim former survivors?
No, she said that's
No,
like
I know.
who I know.
Who she
but
would
it's
play
like, to claim Kellen is to really line yourself
I just am
up.
laughing that the way you're describing it is like that she's
it's
claiming
amazing.
washerwoman. Really?
Well, because it's like if I were to be like I relate to Sophie Clark because I do. No one sees that. You don't see that right now. This isn't how Sophie acts.
I see it.
But thank you.
Yes.
But
here's Lisa.
that would be like such a red flag. And so when people do things that aren't expected, that's when it's like, uh-oh. And so when Andy, who was your sad boy that she was ready to like kind of pull along, all of a sudden is talking to other tribes who they did so good. Tiana just being like, don't talk.
Mm-hmm.
That's Tiana.
I love that. I loved when she did that, by the way, because Tiana is one of my favorite people from the preseason, and I'm really rooting for her.
Yeah.
Hard agree.
Okay. Well, Lisa. Okay. How do you feel about all this? You agree with what Bobby is saying?
I think that so I'm just if I'm Rachel's position, I'm only speaking in terms of being in Rachel's position. I think the person you vote out is Andy because one, you have an association now with Andy where Andy kind of pulled you into his alliance. We hear these confessionals that Rachel may not have necessarily wanted to be tied to this alliance. So the easy out for Rachel in this situation is to vote Andy out. But now that Andy's in, I think that there might be some expectation of their relationship that I don't think that Rachel thought through.
Yes, because when John talked about in X interviews, it seems like there were actually 3 pairs, and Andy was his, right? And he was bummed about that. But now that Andy's there, Andy's the crazy one that everyone knows that they need to scoop if they want to drag. And everyone's going to think Rachel can do it the best. Rachel's able to do that because he wanted her to do it day one. And I say this as an Andy. I would be sobbing looking for my calm. When I played an LRG last 3 days, I still cried on a hill like Andy and was like, oh, please keep me. And because I Banu'd on my knees, like at the same time Manu was on his knees to Tiffany, my girl was named Nicole. And I was like, please save me. I love you. I'll do anything. I just want to survive one vote. And they were smart enough to see that if you keep the crazy around, someone will think that they can use you. It's like, I presented myself. I'm a weapon. Use me, point me. Just point me in a direction so I can stay.
People can't help but to take that. It's like, I can use something.
Your final 3 is going to be the 3 flops because you, Rachel, smart girl.
Yeah. It's like, I'm not afraid of you anymore. I could use you.
Yeah. And it's just like, do you want a Xander in the game? It probably would have been better for Ricard if Xander left early. Like, I just think like you have to eventually cut from the bottom. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of like, I call it low self-esteem players. I don't think that's good terms, but it's like, they don't think they can win unless they're next to 2.
I'm a wackadoodle. I can't win. Yeah.
Like the James Jones counter argument is like, I can beat anyone at any time. I will, because that's what the game is. And I'm kind of more, you don't get to choose who you're next to. So don't pick people that other people want to sit next to. I think
Yes.
that's more dangerous than
All right.
anything.
Alyssa, but I just want to make sure this we started with you. I want to make sure that that this is also that your opinion on this is heard.
No, yeah, but I think Bobby and I in general agree on the opinion that I don't think she made the correct move in her point of view, like just knowing this whole situation. I honestly, I don't know, Bobby and Rob, I don't think she makes the merge, in my opinion, because of this move.
I wouldn't keep her.
Yeah,
If I was Sam, I would want Andy, who came up to me with a plan with John and Sierra. That would, if I was Sam, who seems to be the decision maker, I would never, as Rachel, I don't know. I just don't, I don't see I don't know if I'm seeing the full picture that she's seeing, because I'm saying this as a person who probably also on a good day is John Loveit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't relate to both of these people on the bottom on this yellow tribe, but I would keep John because he's such an easy hook, like later. Like,
yeah. Do
you know he's a millionaire? Hook. Like,
yeah.
It's just, you can.
But maybe that they're a little bit more worried about John as a flip candidate. Is that possible?
Sure. Great.
Yeah.
That's a great thing to sell to the third tribe that you merge with, is that he's going to flip to them. He likes them more than you. He told us. Like, you can lie. And like, it's.
Yeah.
But Andy, who publicly did something, can't. What are we going to say about Andy that hasn't already been said? He's safe now. Like,
It's gonna be really interesting when both tribes see who got voted out and they realize Andy was not the person voted out.
It'd be a good moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm meeting you for the second time. I did not vote out that crazy guy. Am I an overplayer, or did he have an idol? Like, now you think that the five of us are strategic, or the four of us are like masterminds or doing big picture moves. And that's the last thing I want. 12 new people that I don't know to think about me. And so I just don't get it. I don't get it. And I
Me
probably
neither.
don't get it. And I say that with affection towards Andy and empathy.
I wasn't thinking about it this way. You two have put Rachel in the cross. I thought she had a good first episode. I was like, oh,
No,
look at
they made
Rachel.
me think she had a good first episode, because that's what they do to seventh placers. That's like, you have to sell that she's a threat because she's going early merge at best. Like, I cannot see it. I cannot for Rachel. No, I don't see it. And I wanted to, because I'm such a Michael stan. Like, I want to believe.
But I will say, Rob, I can't see it either, but I love being proven wrong. Like, which is all that Survivor's about. So
isn't that what's fun about like doing this Survivor? Like, listen, like John Loveit's podcast, like I remember I listened to that podcast one time. And they were like, don't worry, like, this thing is not going to happen. Like, okay, everybody. Oh, yeah, okay, wet the bed. All right, sure. Don't worry about anything. Everything's fine. And then, and that wasn't fun. They got it wrong. But when I'm wrong, I think that's fun.
I like to be wrong. Yeah. I see a game changer's energy from this cast. I see us cutting from the top. I see fan favorite, my favorite eyebrows on Survivor. I can't think of her name. Sierra Don Thomas Easton. Nope, wrong last name somewhere. But I see that in Rachel. I see like her and Brad, like that, and like Brad being Sam. And I don't know. I do agree that Sam got a lot of confessionals out of nowhere, and I'm nervous. That's my anti-archetype. So that's like the
All right.
But I don't know.
All right. Lisa, anything else? Are you at work yet? Oh, Lisa might be frozen.
Maybe she's just really intensely.
Yeah. How was the parade, Bobby?
I got pulled to a harder roll today, and it was quite hot. But I can't believe I made this. Maraska
You made
Minions
it.
Rise.
You made it. So you're like, oh, why do you just sit 3? What do you think? We're gonna be done in 10 minutes?
Well, okay. To be honest, our parades are Act 2. They moved. The 3 o'clock parade got moved. But that doesn't.
All right. I'll be here for a minute. Okay.
All right.
Have fun. Bobby, thank you so much. Talk to you soon.
This
okay?
is so soft and actually
aren't you so hot in Florida in a sweatshirt?
Well, I'm anemic. I'm always cold. I will sit on my porch in this, to be honest. And so, but we love. And I'm excited for a new cycle. I'm watching this one with a much more critical eye. I feel like I watched 45, 46 very empathetically.
No,
So
you're new. You're a spicy Bobby now.
I don't think I'm being spicy. I don't think
a little spicy. I think so.
Well, there's some heat, but I don't think it's spicy. Like I'm rooting for her. There's no one I'm rooting against. I think dropping the box down the cliff was the funniest juice.
It's a good moment.
Great.
Okay. All right, Bobby. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. And then I've got one more person on hold. It's Johnny. Hi, Johnny. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Doing great, Johnny. This has been a very fun episode.
I just got home from work, so honestly, I missed most of it. But I can't
tell
wait
me
to listen
what
back.
your question is, and I'll tell you if we answered it already.
Honestly, it's about Rachel too, and now I feel like I'm just piling
perfect.
on.
That's perfect. Yeah, so you're anti. I don't want to say anti-Rachel.
I don't want to say anti. I like her.
Rachel seems like a super fan. That I don't think anybody's anti-Rachel, but you think that she made a strategic error in this episode.
I do because I feel like she really alienated Andy a lot in the episode and then kept him, which I don't agree with. Like, I feel like he left their interaction at the camp feeling very not comforted at all by what she did.
Yeah.
And then at Tribal, she's listing the reasons why he might be a liability going down the road, which he's already paranoid about. He's already clearly blown up about this.
I
and
just
then she
wonder
keeps him.
but I think that she might was it her decision? Because the way I could see it happening was that, okay, we heard that Sierra and Sam wanted to keep Andy, whereas Annika and Rachel were more likely to want to keep John, who was more, in their opinion, the rational thinker that they could work with. But then if it gets to Annika that John is trying to put the vote on Annika, and Annika becomes like, all right, well, we're sort of like deadlocked. Is it Andy or John? He said my name. All right, let's go with, let's keep Andy. And so Rachel might have just been outvoted. So was it her call, or was she sort of just like outvoted?
No, I agree. My thing is more like, I'm all for the fake out at Tribal, give some vague, like, is it tribe strength or is it trust? Something like that. But she like went specific into why Andy's a liability. And she's like, oh, if he goes on a journey, like clearly we can't trust him because he blows up. And I was like, well, don't make the paranoid guy, like, don't give him concrete reasons why you're scared of him. Like, now he's just going to spiral more. So to me, I was like,
yeah,
I don't know if you needed to say that.
Yeah, it's a
That's
fair
where I
point.
was at.
Okay.
I don't know. I saw a lot of people
are
being
you
high on
as
her.
down on Rachel as Bobby and Elisa?
As down, and I really like her, but I was surprised. That's all I got.
Yeah. Bobby is like staring into the camera now, giving me like a Larry David, like side eye.
I know. I hope he doesn't hate everything I said.
I don't think so. I think he's on the same page. Just different
Okay,
degrees.
great.
All right, Johnny. Anything else going on today?
No, that was all for me. I'm glad that I made the. I'm glad I was
made
the
it.
last person. Wow.
Okay.
An
All
honor.
right, Johnny. Thank you so much.
Nice
okay.
talking to you.
Take care. Bye. All right, we're so back. The Survivor Q&A. This is very fun for me. These 2 hours fly by. I love getting to hear from the patrons, and love hearing how you all are feeling about the show. So keep it coming. If you're going to be with us next week, keep an eye out for if it's 3 or 4 next Friday. It's Dominic's birthday on next weekend. We're supposed to have Dominic's for his birthday. Wanted to have he's in 5th grade. He is having a party of he wants to have all of his friends come over for a flag football game, and you can't beat the price on that. And so the flag football game scheduled for next Saturday. However, Nicole says a hurricane is about to hit our area next weekend. So if we may need to end up moving some things around with BB Q&A, Survivor Q&A, but I am not supposed to be podcasting on Saturday next week, so that could throw off. So throw some things into Friday. But if I can podcast on Saturday, I'll try to keep this at the normal time. So we'll keep an eye out for that. San Juan del Sur 10-year anniversary coming up on Tuesday. BB Q&A coming up tomorrow. Survivor Club Condo, plus Gabby's going to be on the B&B, Why Blank Lost, the Survivor News on the Purple Pants podcast. Shannon's got a new Survivor Global out as well, plus everything else we've already done on Survivor. We're so back. If you're not subscribed, what are you even doing? Okay? We know Survivor.com. And if you want to check out, if you like this taste of the patron feed, you could try it for free for several days. Go to RHAPplus.com and check it out for 7 days and see what that's like. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.